Nobody for the whole village sabi the true source of Adamu Suya except Amara. She enter him house catch am when he dey open him big freezer, comot wetin look like human body, come place am for the kitchen table. She freeze for fear as him begin to dey cut. Him knife dey slide cleanly through the meat. Out of fear, she try to move back, but her hand hit one plate. E fall against the tiles for floor, come echo like death bell. Adamu turn sharply, him face stiff with shock. Him secret don expose. The person wey dey stand for him door no be stranger, no be thief, but the woman wey he love. Kumbula na town wey full with life, wey get rolling hills and fertile farmlands. It was a place where traders and travelers dey always meet. Every morning, the market square dey bloom with color. Farmers dey spread out their yams, plantains and cassava. Fishermen dey display fresh catches from the river, and tailors dey lay out cloth wey dem sew. The people of Kumbula dey very cheerful and kind. Dem sabi dem everywhere for their friendliness. If traveler come the town hungry, they go feed am. If person come tired, place go always dey to rest. Hospitality na the pride of the land. Na for this welcoming town Adamu come, one quiet man. E no carry anything more than one old knife, wooden cutting board, and iron stand for roasting meat. At first, the villagers no really think about am. Many don come before with big dreams of selling food only to fail and vanish. But Adamu different. Him stall, though is simple, draw crowds quick. The first thing wey capture the people na the aroma. As soon as Adamu lay the strips of meat on top the hot charcoal, the air fill with scent wey dey so irresistible, so tey people wey dey pass, they always stop without meaning to. E rich, e spicy, smoky, so powerful, e dey like say e dey pull them closer like unseen hands. The taste come seal him reputation join. Tender, juicy, and seasoned with fire wey dey dance across the tongue. Adamu's roasted meat no be like anything wey the community don ever taste. Children dey beg their parents for pocket money just to buy one stick. Men wey dey leave their work dey always stop by for quick bite. Women wey dey return from market dey delay their journey just to stand for line. Soon, Adamu become the talk of Kumbula. Other Suya vendors dey watch in pain. Dem don dey roast meat for years, but it never reached like this. Their customers abandon them. They leave their shops empty. Many grew angry. They accuse Adamu of witchcraft. Some claim that he must have stumbled upon a secret mixture wey foreigners dey bring. Others whisper that his ancestors had blessed him. But no matter how hard them try, nobody fit replicate the flavor. Wetin shock them pass na him price. Adamu sells his meat so cheap, so they make other vendors look like very greedy people. How can he make any profit? Then they wonder, how can he sell so low and still survive? Their frustration grow, and one by one, them close their businesses. Adamu become not just vendor, but the only master of roasted suya meat for Kumbala. But under him quiet smile and gentle manner, he dey carry secret wey dark pass anything where anybody fit imagine. Even though people were praising him, even though plenty people they come his shop with happiness, one thing the way Adamu never allowed. Nobody, not even the workers where they close to am well, fit see the meat before it touch the fire. Kumbala they rejoice for him newfound delicacy. But under the smoke and spice, na truth wey dey so terrible sote, when them reveal am, it go shake the entire town to its core. The fame of Adamu roasted meat grow like dry season fire wey harmattan wind dey push. From evening till after midnight, many people always filled his shop. The scent, smoke, hangout, and spice become part of Kumbala evenings. So much sote even those wey don't chop for house, still they come over just for one bite. Wetin baffle the town even more than the flavor na the price. Adamu dey sell generously and cheap, cheaper than anybody there. Old vendors dey mutter say e no go last, say one day go come when he go raise prices and milk them dry. That day never came. Instead, queues become longer. Owners of once busy shops before they watch, first with disbelief, then with bitterness as their customers transfer and their own shops die off. Some accuse Adamu say him dey use charm. Others talk say him don strike secret deal with cattle rearers and herdsmen. Some give up the trade altogether, vex say the community people don't forget about them. Adamu no send the rumors. Him dey move with the calmness of person wey know exactly wetin him dey do. Him dey roast with one kind style. Flip, fan, brush, sprinkle, slice. Never rushed, never sloppy. When people dey praise am, him dey smile small as if hailing na flavour wey him no care about. And always, always, he kept one habit sacred. Nobody go see the meat before he touch the fire. Business grew so fast, so take the small shop for road where he began, no fit hold am again. He then opened 3 small shops for different bus stops. Simple wooden fronts with tin roofs, the kind places where fit pack people to the edge for evening. He then hired 3 assistants to sell for the shops while him dey supply them from house. But even as him dey expand, Adamu dey for control. Na him dey buy the meat, na him dey wash am, na him dey boil am, na him dey marinate am, na him dey cut am, all for him house before him send the day ration to each shop. At first, the workers been dey grateful. Job na job, but soon them notice something. Sometimes the meat go finish before rush hour, and them go stand idle as impatient customers dey grumble dey walk away. Sometimes Adamu go arrive late to the next batch. They sweat, they pant, they insist to arrange the trays himself before him return to the next stop. E dey slow everything. And the one thing wey them no fit slow for Kumbala community na the hunger of people. The workers call meeting one afternoon. They gather behind the shop while the last customers dey lick pepper from their fingers. Oga Adamu, one of them begin carefully. Make you rest small abeg. This work don pass one man hand. We fit handle the buying and preparation for shop. Business go move faster. Another worker enter the talk. We go keep your standard. We no go fall your hand. If we buy, clean and parboil here, you fit focus on roasting and supply. Customers no go complain delay again. Adamu watch them with the kind eyes wey nobody fit read. I appreciate una effort, him talk smoothly. But this cooking recipe get rules. If I allow prep outside my house, even small, the flavor go change. Our customers go taste the difference, and them no go forgive us. Leave the buying and cooking to me. They exchange glances. Respect keep their voices calm, but frustration enter their throat. Oga, na the same goal we get. Make business grow. The first worker insisted. Make we try am for 1 week. No. Adamu tone no rise. Still calm. The meeting end there, not with quarrel, but with war. The workers left with their worry intact, and Adamu left with his rule unchanged. Among the 3 assistants, Tunde na the most stubborn. He no be troublemaker o, but him be the kind of person wey no give up easily. The math no add up for him head. The speed of supply, the cheap selling price, the unbending secrecy. So one early morning, before the cocks crow, Tunde sneaked out of him compound and walked the dark streets to Adamu house. He had no intention to sneak inside, only to follow the man go the market to see where him dey buy for such quantities and at such price. But when he arrived, he heard a sound wey scramble him whole plan. The heavy, loud thud of cutlass on wood. He frowned. At this hour? He drew closer. Tunde swallowed saliva, then did one quick prayer before he got the morale to touch the door with his 2 fingers. The door opened enough for him to see some part of the room. Iron trays with them stacked so high, steam dey plenty for the window side, and Adamu's shoulders dey rise and fall with each sharp cut. He couldn't see what Adamu was cutting. He could only see the precision, the way Adamu no dey ever waste motion like pro. Tunde no plan to speak, but the question jumped out of him mouth. Oga, you don't wake? The knife freeze for air. Adamu turn. Immediately. For one heartbeat, something raw show for him face. How you take enter my house? His voice no get any of the softness wey customers know. Who gave you the right? Tunde stepped back, palms open. I didn't mean any harm. If I can follow you to the market, I go sabi better how to help you for sure. You're fired. Silence swallowed the room. He expected anger, questions, maybe warning, but he didn't expect a clean, immediate cut like that. Get out. No come my shop again. If I see you there, I will call police. Adamu's hand tightened around the knife handle. He didn't shout. He didn't tremble. He simply ended the conversation. They feel the weight of the door as if it was a person they push and come out. Shame hold am. Shame that he was dismissed and something else wey he no fit understand because of wetin he don't see and didn't see inside that house. Before the weekend, Tunde found work for the only shop in Kumbula wey fit dare to stand beside Adamu's shadow. Yakubu Roasted Meat Spot. The accepted second best. Yakubu was old with gravelly voice and eyes wey no dey miss anything. When Tunde told him how they just sack him just for stepping into a door that was half open, Yakubu was quiet for long. I have roasted meat longer than some people don't dey alive. As he was talking, he dey rub his chin. I know pride and I know caution. But wetin you describe, that one na something different. He looked toward the road where they lead to Adamu compound. Something there is not clean. Tunde hesitated. You think say? I don't think. Yakubu cut him off. I do watch and I dey wait. Secrets cannot stay buried forever. This town will bring them to light, usually at the worst possible moment. Tunde nodded, grateful for the job, but he didn't want to believe what his mind was telling him. He was not ready to think bad of the man that his skill has fed half the town. He only wanted to make some sense where confusion was. But Kumbola had a way of serving truth like pepper soup. Hot, surprising, and impossible to forget once it touched the tongue. And the pot, though it's still there for fire, has started to boil. As it dey hot, Adamu doubled down. He tightened the schedule, sharpened him knives, moved faster. He still dey smile for customers, still dey maintain his pattern as usual. But he became more careful. He dey always look for the road plenty times. He now locked his door twice. The town felt the tension without knowing what caused it. Gossip moved fast. Why you no get apprentice? How does he manage to sell cheap like that? You hear say he dey cook from house? Ha, omo. Questions wey no get answers. After they talk and finish, it will return the next day like flies. For the community palace courtyard, drums dey rehearse and calabashes polished. The community chief birthday was approaching. The palace steward made list of vendors, then underlined one name twice. Adamu go serve the roasted suya meat. Nobody argued. Who else? The invitation was a crown and fuse at the same time. The town dey wait for celebration. Destiny was waiting for his cue. The birthday of the chief of Kumbala was more than celebration. It was a yearly pilgrimage. From dawn, the roads where they lead to the palace was filled with plenty people. Neighbors from nearby towns, traders with baskets where them carry for their backs. Drummers, they knack their talking drums, and women, they carry designers where them decorate with wool and leaves. It was a day when everybody, rich or poor, they chop to satisfaction, dance until sweat go soak their clothes, and go home with stories to tell for another year. The palace gate was well opened. Men in white wrappers with red sashes they guard. Inside, the courtyard was dressed like a bride. Plenty kawa shells and colored clothes hang from the beams. Kegs of palm wine stood ready, and circle of drummers beat rhythms where they make even stiff old men tap their feet. The air was full with anticipation, the kind that only comes when people know say them go chop and laugh without limits. And for the center of the feast was where Adamu's shop stood. No roasted meat in Kumbala or the towns outside can beat him. The steward of the palace had announced it proudly, and the people don't hail him. Some even said, if Adamu will be there, then the celebration goes sweet wella. That morning, Adamu worked harder than him don't ever work before. His knife never stopped moving, the slice, the trim, the arranging. His hands, they move like pro. Flip, fan, brush, sprinkle. By midday, his shop don't full with plate and queue. The smoke filled the air. Aroma we get pepper and spice. Hungry children, they lick their lips, they shout, Uncle Adamu, remember me, oh. Women were fanning themselves as they waited, teasing their neighbors. You better hold your meat tight or I go snatch am from your plate, oh. The chief himself arrived, wearing a beautiful flowing agbada stitched with golden thread. He was a man of laughter and large appetite, a leader who loved his people through enjoyment as much as through wisdom. He raised his hand and declared, Today, no stomach will go empty. Make the music loud and let Adamu's fire feed the land. The cheering was plenty like thunder. The feast began. Meat passed from hand to hand. Drummers, they increased their beat. Elders, they tell stories of hunters and warriors, of spirits where they bless harvests, of the river where once swallow one greedy man. Children danced with feet way too quick for their small body. Everywhere, people they sing the praises of Adamu meat. But in between the celebration, something happened. Na small pikin first notice am. He bit into his meat. He then frowned. Mama, this one gets different taste too. His mother, distracted by conversation, waved him off. But then another person noticed. Young man that stop mid-bite. Dey stare at something pale wey dey between his meat. He plucked it out, squeezed his face, and his throat went dry. It was small, white, and had a certain shape. Na person teeth oh! He dropped it immediately, but the damage was done. The news spread very fast. What is that? It looks like human teeth. Are you sure? I saw it too. Omo, within minutes, murmurs grew into shouts. Some villagers threw away their meat. Others gathered closer, demanding answers. The music reduced, the drums stopped, and the courtyard moved from joy to confusion. The chief raised his staff and demanded silence. The crowd obeyed, though people were in panic mode. Adamu, the chief spoke slowly. My people just tell me something now. They said what they found in your meat doesn't belong to any cow or goat. Tell me now, which truth are you hiding in your fire? Adamu fell to his knees, tears streaking his cheeks, voice breaking as he spoke. My chief, my people, I swear by the gods of Kumbala, I would never do such a thing. This must be the work of jealous people who envy my success. They planted this to destroy me. Please don't condemn me by lies. His words were full of desperation. The crowd panicked. They remembered his generosity, his patience, his quiet smile. They remembered how other sellers had cursed him. Slowly, sympathy overtook suspicion. The chief spoke, stroking his beard. Indeed, you get plenty enemies. Maybe na setup be this. Kumbala welcomed you as one of our own, Adamu. Today, I go forgive you, but know this. Shadows cannot hide forever. If you betray us, the spirits themselves will drag the truth into light.
The people they clap, partially relieved, partially they doubtful. The drums resumed, the dancing returned, and the feast staggered back into joy. But a small seed of doubt and mistrust had been planted in the heart of the town. Some still whispered as they chewed the meat, rolling the taste on their tongues as if to test it again. Adamu left the palace that night exhausted, his body heavy, his eyes weak. He told himself that the storm had passed, that the chief's forgiveness had saved him. Yet, in the deepest chamber of his heart, he knew that this was only the beginning. And in the crowd, Yakubu leaned on his walking stick. He had seen the panic that flashed across Adamu's face. He heard the crack in his voice. This man is hiding something terrible. The celebration ended. The villagers slept. The fires burned to ash. But rumors carried through the night wind, moving from compound to compound. What if the teeth were real? What if we've been eating more than we think? Kumbala had tasted doubt, and doubt, once you taste it, it cannot leave your tongue. 1 year passed after the chief's birthday feast, but the memory of the thief incident lingered. Though the villagers eventually convinced themselves that it was nothing more than sabotage by jealous rivals, doubt still lay like smoke that refused to leave a person's cloth. Adamu continued his business, smiling as always, serving his roasted meat with the same precision and dedication. The people still lined up, still chewed happily, still praised him. But once in a while, a whisper would enter the queue. You remember that day at the chief's palace? Could it really be human teeth? Adamu ignored the murmurs, but deep inside, he felt the walls of suspicion tightening. He needed something to cement his place in Kumbala, something that would make the people trust him completely again, something stronger than his meat. It was during this time that Amara entered his life. One evening, as Adamu dey close him shop, sweat dripping from his forehead and the last meat dying on the fire, he saw her. She walked past in a beautiful yellow dress, her hair wrapped with a fine scarf. Her laughter made him forget the market noise, light and effortless, like water dropping on stone. Adamu's knife stopped mid-motion. His chest tightened. For the first time in years, his mind abandoned thoughts of meat and fire. She noticed that he was staring. With a teasing smile, she turned her head and asked, "Are you going to keep staring or will you ask for my name?" Confused and excited, Adamu wiped his hands on his apron. "Yes, sorry. Can I know your name?" "Amara," she said, her voice soft but firm. "And you?" "Of course I know you. Who doesn't know Adamu, the famous meat seller of Kumbala?" Adamu's lips couldn't hold back the smile. A real smile this time, Not the shallow one he gave customers, but something fuller, warmer. Then you must allow me to repay your kindness with as much roasted meat as you can eat. Amara laughed, a sound that seemed to strike him deeper than any love song. Careful, Adamu. A woman like me might eat down your shop, oh. That night, Adamu barely slept. His thoughts were just dancing, not about sales, but about Amara's smile. He had seen countless women in his shop, but none had shaken him the way she did. The next day, and the day after, he found excuses to find her, to walk beside her, to offer her small gifts. Silk gowns from the boutique, silver bangles, and of course, sticks of his roasted meat wrapped in newspaper. Amara accepted them all, smiling sweetly, letting him enjoy the warmth of her attention. And soon, the town was buzzing with news of the new lovers. Adamu, the quiet meat seller,
Has fallen in love.
no be small thing. He poured his soul into this new woman he loved. He bought her new clothes, finer than any she had ever owned before. Omo, he gave her money steadily, sometimes more than what she even asked for. He paraded his love openly, escorting her through the market, holding her hand for everyone to see. People whispered, some with envy, others in admiration. See how Adamu loves her. This is true love. But not all whispers were kind. Some women muttered, this Amara has struck gold. Are you sure she truly loves him? Or is it just his gifts and money she loves? Others warned that love that came so suddenly burned too brightly to last. Yet Adamu didn't listen to any advice. He believed that Amara was his salvation, proved to Kumbala that he was not only a man of business, but also a man of heart. Still, Amara noticed something odd. For all his openness in public, for all his affection, Adamu never once invited her to his house. When she asked, he would smile nervously and say, my house smells of smoke and rotten meat. I cannot let you come there, but soon I will buy a new house in your name. Then we will live together without shame. At first, she accepted the excuse, but over time the refusal began to pain her. Why was he hiding his house? Why was he guarding his private life like that? Her curiosity, which had been small, started to grow each day like tree where they look for sunlight. What Adamu didn't know was that Amara did not enter his life by chance. Her beauty, her laughter, her presence, these were not just the workings of fate. She had been sent with a mission. Yakubu, who was still suspicious after the teeth incident, had quietly sent Amara to win his trust, enter his house, and tell him what she saw. Amara don't agree already. She saw it as nothing more than a task, a way to uncover the truth. But as time passed, she found out that she was beginning to like Adamu in ways she didn't expect. He was attentive, generous, almost childlike in the way he played his lover boy role. Against her own plan, her heart began soft for Adamu. She told herself it was still a mission, but in the silence of the night, she couldn't deny that she had grown to care for him. Yet one thing remained, the locked door of Adamu's house, and with each day that passed, Amara knew that sooner or later, she would have to find a way to enter inside. Now there the mask of love go, either reveal salvation or reveal a truth darker than what the town of Kumbala could bear. The love between Adamu and Amara became the talk of Kumbala. In the market, women smiled knowingly when they saw them walking together. Children giggled, men shook their heads, some in admiration, some in envy, at the way Adamu showered Amara with gifts, fine dresses, golden earrings, bangles that jingled when she lifted her hands. To everyone, he was not only the master of roasted meat, but now also the picture of a potential, responsible family man. But Amara carried a secret. Behind her laughter and soft words, she was still on a mission. Yakubu, the second best suya meat seller in town and Adamu's silent rival, plant the seed of suspicion for her mind. Enter his house, discover what he is hiding, and tell me. Even though she had grown to care for Adamu, she couldn't ignore the shadow of doubt that hung over him. For months, Adamu deflected every attempt to visit his house. It smells of rotten meat. It's not fine. It's not this. It's not that. I cannot let you endure such discomfort. But soon, very soon, I will buy a house for us. One that shines with beauty. One that is worthy of you.
Amara would smile,
but her heart stay very unsettled. Why the man wey dey so open for public dey so close for private? Finally, one evening, Amara decide say she no fit wait again. She had secretly made a copy of his key, one small rusted thing that always hung unnoticed from his trousers. With it, she dressed quietly, tied her scarf very low, and found her way through a hidden path to his house. The moonlight painted the road silver so she could see. When she arrived, her hands were shaking. The house was a normal house, just plain. The wooden door was locked. She inserted the key slowly. Her breathing paused as she slowly turned it. The lock clicked open easily. She entered inside. Waiting she see freeze her blood. The room was a bit dark. Only the light from a lamp on the wooden table lit the room. On the far wall, a giant iron fridge stood massive. Mist covered its outer surface. Amara hid herself in a corner where it would be hard to see her heart pounding. As she just bent down, that was when the door opened behind her. Adamu entered. He walked to the fridge, humming faintly, as if this was a normal thing to him. He pulled the heavy fridge door open, and cold air burst out into the room. Inside, Amara saw it clearly, a human hand, pale and limp, resting on top of other pieces of body parts and legs. And there, at the bottom, a severed head. Men, women, even children, stacked as though they were nothing more than cuts of meat. Amara's hands flew to her mouth to stop the scream. Tears filled her eyes. She had prayed and hoped that the rumors were lies, that Yakubu's suspicions were wrong, but the truth stood undeniable before her. The secret ingredient of Adamu's roasted meat was human flesh. She staggered back, and her hand hit a plate. It fell, crashing to the floor with a sound that shattered the silence. Adamu turned around immediately. His eyes landed on her. He froze immediately, blood draining from his body. He couldn't move. His eyes then changed to anger. "Amara," he whispered, his voice shaking with both shock and betrayal. "You?" Her tears started pouring freely. "Why, Adamu? Why would you do this kind of thing? These people trusted you. I trusted you." He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He still held the knife at his side. For the first time, the master of roasted meat looked powerless, a man caught red-handed. Amara immediately started running. She ran without looking back until she reached Yakubu's compound. She burst through his door, fell down and started crying, telling him everything she had seen. Yakubu didn't waste any time. With his men armed with sticks and weapons, he stormed Adamu's house. What they found confirmed every word Amara had spoken. Inside the fridge, plenty of evidence was there. Heads, hands, bones, eyes, all the small trophies of years of slaughter. They gathered the whole town. They woke the chief. They dragged Adamu to the palace, bound and disgraced. The courtyard filled with villagers, their faces filled with horror. Mothers hold their children. Old men shook their heads in disbelief. The chief's voice was heavy. "Adamu, son of no known father, we welcomed you as our own. We ate from your fire. We made you one of us. And yet, you betrayed us. Speak now. What kind of evil is this?" Finally, Adamu confessed. His voice cracked as he admitted that he would lure the homeless, the beggars, the lost travelers into his house with promises of food and shelter. It was there he slaughtered them, piece by piece. He would turn their flesh into the roasted meat that had made him famous. He cried as he spoke, but his tears only increased the anger the villagers felt. Shock filled the courtyard. Some tried to vomit, holding at their throats. Others they screamed, realizing that they had been eating human flesh for years without knowing. The taste that had been sweet to them now turned to ash in their memories. The chief struck his staff on the ground. "For this crime, you will be imprisoned for life. You will never walk free again. And let everyone know that from this day forth, roasted meat is banned in Kumbala. No person will roast meat in this town again." The villagers shouted their agreement. They dragged Adamu away. Meanwhile, Amara was crying bitterly in Yakubu's compound. She had fulfilled her mission, but her heart was broken into pieces. She fell in love with the man she was meant to expose. Now, she carried the burden of knowing that the man she loved was a monster
who deceived an entire town. From that day forward, the aroma of roasted meat disappeared from Kumbala. The shops closed, the fires died, and the taste that had once brought joy now brought disgust. The town lived with the scar of betrayal, a warning passed from lips to ears for generations. Be careful where you buy your suya meat, for even the sweetest taste can hide the darkest secrets. Like and subscribe for more stories like this.